a little Q&A we have this evening with some of the creators. I'll bring out, you've seen them before, Wyatt Sarkisian and Karen Zipor!
Thank you, Johnny.
Anytime. I was kind of in Russia right now. Do we see there's a little map under us?
I'm in
You see
Czechoslovakia.
Eastern Europe below us?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a few little questions, and then we're going to open it up to the audience. I just want to start off by saying, can you guys talk a little about the initial inspiration for both projects? Why a mockumentary about film bros? Why kind of worm movie? So Wyatt, I'll start with you.
Yeah, the bros were kind of something that my old roommate Elijah and I would joke around about a lot, like sophomore year, junior year, and we started just because we're both writers, just creating these characters. Maybe one's a cinematographer, and just like shooting the shit. But eventually, I graduated, moved back to LA, and Elijah was at a party with another writer friend of ours in New York, and he just started talking about the film bros, and the writer guy Matthias, who's the third co-creator, was like, "Why don't we do it? Why don't we write it and make it?" And I was like, "I'm in LA, like it's impossible. How could you do it?" And then we just started writing it, and as we started writing it, it became more and more real. At first, it was 5 episodes. Then we finally went down to 4 once we figured out budget, all that. And we raised some money, and we did it. I think if anything, it's just a testament to like, go and do it, you know, if you have an idea.
And for context, Wyatt and his bros all went to NYU.
Yes.
Hence all the USC hate.
I remember you talking about this so long ago. What was the timeline from like idea to like first episode posted? Like, do you know how long that period was?
It was probably, if I backtrack, it came out in September, we shot it in May, so had the whole summer to edit. I would say it was probably like a 9 or 10 month process, totally, from the first time we like sat down to write the pilot.
And then I'll bring it over to you, just initial inspiration, why this project?
So the inspiration was a man hurt me.
Like all good art,
all good art starts there.
It was not a worm, it was a man.
It was a man. It was based on a man. And it was based off like the true story of like how I had to deal with a big heartbreak and move out to LA and resume to the rest of my potential and the rest of my life. And I was like, where the hell is this coming of age story? Because no one's got this ending. And as well, the meme of like, would you still love me if I was a worm wasn't a thing when I first came up with this. This was like early 2024.
I was going to ask about that, okay.
Big worm, capitalize on the worm content.
Worm moment going on.
Yeah.
Worms are really hot.
Worms are huge right now.
Yes. But what was kind of nice about the meme was like this short film kind of answers part 2 of that question, which is, well, don't you deserve more than a worm? Why are you settling for just a worm? So.
Period.
Thank you.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask. When did it become from man to worm? Like, did you know going into it? Was it like kind of the eternal question, the age-old question? When, like, did you know going into it was going to be about a worm? Was it ever just like about a guy, and then you made that change, or how'd that happen?
It was always going to be about a worm. In the very first draft of the script, I wanted to do a montage at the end, going through all their little dates and all their little moments together again, but with a real human boy. And then my amazing writer friends were like, no, you don't need that, keep him a worm. It's better this way.
And I also want to say that like when you do, from my experience, when you think about doing an animated thing, you're always asking the question like, why an animated thing? And I think like when you write a story with a worm in it, it makes sense. Like it really fits. That's my thought.
When I first wrote it, I thought it was going to be live action. I thought we were going to do like live worm bait and make it really disgusting. And then finally, I come from the animation world. I worked at Disney. I worked on 2D animated shows before, and I was like, I'm not going to make an animated short until I have a script that's worthy of it, because I know how long it takes and how expensive it is, and I'm like, I'm not doing that until a story is worthy of it.
Yeah.
And
Soon
oh
we'll get
my
a live
gosh.
action adaptation. I
Yeah,
want to see
I know.
it. It's starring Emma Stone. Yeah.
Emma Stone would be in
As the
it.
worm. As the worm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's doing kind of bald now.
She's
I
just-
think I saw.
Yeah,
She's
she
doing
does
kind of
need
bald.
that
Straight from
all work.
Yeah.
Very awesome. You guys mentioned earlier that a lot of the team is in the audience today.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask for both of you, I know it's kind of in different ways, how did the team come about? Wyatt, I know you brought it up a bit in your first question. Can you give me the rundown of the core film bros and then how you guys kind of found the larger team in that way?
What I'll say is kind of crazy is that there was a summer program in 2018 that I went to at NYU. I don't want to, interrupt. But I would say 5 or 6 of those people, the 17 of us, were on the set in 2025 when we filmed this. Half of them, Elijah and Matthias kept in touch with. I had kept in touch with a couple of people out here who were going to school out here, and it's really just a testament to keeping in touch with people, and all these people are so talented, and I think it helps when you're friends with these people and they have seen you, do shitty sketch comedy and fail and try to develop your comedic voice over and over, so they get it when you're finally putting something out there and you invite them into your world. They're like, oh, I see what you're trying to do here. So I think that's sort of how it all formed.
Do you remember the initial pitch for Film Bros? Do you remember what you kind of bring to someone when you were gonna did you have a log line to bring them onto the project or not so much?
I would always start with being Film Bros, right?
Okay, yeah.
You know them. They're the most pretentious, annoying, people ever who who just name drop all the time. And I think the joke is that where we love to shit on them, but where we are them too, so it's making fun of ourselves. And then the part that I would try to nail in was and we have a lot of love for these people too, because at the end of the day, they're just awkward people who have found this thing that they latch onto to find community, so that's kind of the way that I would try to pitch it.
And then can you tell me how many people worked on your film?
Nearly 40 people.
Crazy.
And finding a team of 40 people is a very hard task, especially when mostly are remote. It is so different from live action in that you're not are you free this week? You're are you free for the next year of your life to work on this?
Yeah. Wait, what was the timeline? I'm curious.
Yes. We started pre-production August 2024. We didn't start animating till January of this year, and it wasn't finished till September. Yeah. So it takes a lot.
This is the premiere of it, right? The first time you
Yeah, this is the first time a big group of people have seen it. Whispering it to people until now. But speaking of getting a huge team, it was just my friends and people I love in animation who I've just kind of rounded around me for so many years. But to animate something like that, each person can only really take 4 to 5 shots max. It's just too much of a load. So I had to outsource and find more people. And we had animators from Australia and the UK and France, people all over the world. The Philippines have worked on this. And it was just a long hiring process of just who has the right style and the right talent and can bring this really complicated character to life. Yeah.
We've also produced on Film Bros and also cameoed as the news reporter.
Yeah, I was in
That's the first time. Okay, actress. What's the difference between producing live action and producing animation? I couldn't even imagine producing animation. Is it a lot of Zoom calls? What?
Oh yeah, we're on Discord because we're cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Live action. First of all, art imitates life because I love how the one girl character is the producer in the show.
Yes.
It is true. And live action is more gathering everybody, building the edit after you've shot everything. Animation is flipped. You are putting together all the storyboards and locking the edit first, and then in January starts your 9-month-long process of slowly animating and cleaning and coloring every single shot. So it's the edit of this has been done for a year in a really rough storyboard format, but it's kind of really an amazing, producing that, you need a tight ship, a tight pipeline from one end to the other, and lots of weekly goals for everybody.
So were you having everyone from all over animate sections at the same time, or would one person do a section, then next section, then,
Yeah. It's almost like a little conveyor belt. Somebody is doing the rough animation, then we pass it on, somebody cleans those lines, pass it on, someone adds the colors and shadows, pass it on, and somebody does all the VFX and compositing work, pretty lighting, the fire, anything shadows, every character's shadow needs to be added after. It's a very long process, and I lived in a Google Sheet for a whole year. Yeah.
Well, then why doesn't I ask you similarly? You produced on Film Bros, you wrote, and then you acted. What was that like, and what was it like being on set as an actor of something you were so close to in the writing and the producing? Did you have to kind of like let that go? Was it all happening at once?
Yeah, I think it was much, the way it went was like writer first, right? And then you start putting on the producer hat, and then you start realizing that you can't wear the producer hat as much as you want to, so you bring Karen on, and she really, the whole project would not exist without Karen. Like, she is, yeah, this is Karen's you bring Karen on and you just say, like, we need help, here's the idea, do you like it? And she was like, I know people like that, I can do it. And to find someone who like loves comedy and has produced comedy too is weirdly hard to come by at comedy at this level, at like an indie level. So brought Karen on, and then I was able to like take the producer hat off a little bit, still involved in casting, things like that, casting Zooms all over the country, everything. And then as an actor, I tried to really just be acting. I think if I were to think, Karen, you know how stressful it was being on that set just as a producer. Like, I could not add to, I had a full plate as is, as an actor, I think.
You went full method.
Yeah, full method. It was crazy.
How similar was the Film Bros set to the set we see in the series?
It was ironic.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, it was like, I think it was hard sometimes. Like, the character's such like a douchebag sometimes, my character, and that was hard. I was like, sometimes after takes, I would be like, are you okay? Like, I was just so mean to you. And we did a lot of improv too. Like, Elijah, my old roommate and the director, was really into like, let's rewrite a scene on the spot if we feel something in the moment. So it was a lot of, go in there. So we went there, and then,
I was going to ask you on that with the characters, ideally there'd be maybe more seasons. These are our main characters, we'd watch them for much longer. How did you guys balance between like this critique of Film Bros and kind of like being unbearable, but also like this group of people that we really do root for and will connect with throughout what could be an entire series?
I think my initial thought is that like each character has their own like, they're right for this reason and they're wrong for this reason. And they're all dealing with ego in a very strange way, and I think this like giant ego comes from a lot of insecurity. And like I picture these Film Bros, I try to think of them as like, if they're little kids, they're just little kids at the end of the day. They're just wanting to like fit in, and they're like basic things that I think all these Film Bros want. So yeah.
And then I was going to ask you, Karen, for the character of the worm. First of all, I want to get into who it's about. If you care to speak.
Yeah. So his address is.
He's here today.
Yes.
But no. So there's so much emotion conveyed through the worm, and that's such a big part of the short. But the worm itself doesn't even have like eyes or like a facial feature. From an animation perspective, were you ever worried that you weren't going to be able to get that point across? And like, how did you ultimately develop the character of the worm?
Well, it all started with the character designs. Once we like started playing with giving them little outfits, we were like, okay, wait. And it was the amazing work. Anna Simpson is somewhere in here. Yes, she did all the story for us. Like, so many jokes. There were jokes written into the script, but she just added even more. And then Ella Louise Kahn, she was the lead worm animator. She worked at Disney on like Once Upon a Studio and the Donald Duck Hot Ones video. So she's got that Disney touch. So any like close-up shot of the worm or breakdancing or anything is her. And
teeth too. The worm had teeth.
He has teeth. He has a
big
little
smile.
tongue. When he eats the popcorn, he goes like, oh, and it's so cute.
It's amazing.
But also, she also was a huge reason he can emote and stuff. And then finally, Jared Fellows, who did the sound, he is also somewhere in here. The quick little man. He's the voice of the worm. Anytime the worm goes, or like any weird little noise, that's just him. And we had so much fun in like sound mixing sessions being like, which should we use here? You know? And directorially, it was my goal the whole time that I wanted him as adorable and emotive and cute in the first half, and once he becomes avoidant and reclusive and checks out from the relationship, he just becomes more and more still. We animate him less and less, like that one shot of him on the bed on the pillow, like he's not moving in that, but yet you're like, oh my god, this guy.
Yeah. Worse.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I was going to ask for both of you, I can start with Karen. Do you see what is the next goal for this project specifically? Is it a festival run? Is this a proof of concept for something bigger? Is there a worm multiverse here? Like,
We could.
You see? Yeah, I see it.
She could date more bugs.
Sure. That's a very specific time.
It's currently in its festival run, hence we can only do private screenings like this. But it's out, it's submitted. The most important, helpful thing everyone here could do is just follow Zipped Up Films and just interact with the post. That's it. Because we just want to prove to festivals, hey, this is cool and fun. You should include it in your lineup. Yeah.
Thank you. And then Wyatt, same question to you. Where do you see Film Bros?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do a season 2. It was definitely, I have a theory personally that like I have one opportunity to like ask my friends and family for money, and then I'm like, need to get it elsewhere.
One, yeah.
And this was my opportunity. I don't like crowdfunding. I respect it, obviously, but it's so hard to do. So I would love to, I think, as Karen said, like as long as you guys are sending this to friends and we can start getting, we have a lot of conversation about it, but we can start getting it even more popular, then eventually we can work with some sort of production partner and find out if there's a possibility for a season 2, because we definitely have ideas for these characters. So.
We're the film girls.
I know, exactly.
I wanted like Alvin and the Chipmunks too this week. Well,
Great.
yeah, they're like the 3 same.
And then the film gays for season 3!
We're all coming.
Well, that was going to kind of be my last question before I open up to the audience. What is most helpful for audience members to now go do for the project? But like following, what are the specific Instagrams? You mentioned your production company. If you want to shout that out again, okay, amazing.
At Zipped Up Films.
Okay, and then what's the Film Bros Instagram?
Yeah, at Film Bros of GV, so feel free to follow it. Also in your goodie bags, thank you by the way, I know goodie bags are great. There's little printouts that have a QR code that you can scan, and on the QR code is a link tree. Stay with me here. There's a link tree that you can find the Film Bros Instagram, Film Bros YouTube, Zipped Up Films Instagram, Zipped Up Films YouTube.
And they should follow you, Johnny Marks.
You can follow me on Instagram at Johnny Marks with 2 X's. I just posted for Halloween and it's kind of flopping, so go give that a like. Shout out my girls. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of throw it to you all. I'm gonna ask some questions from the audience. Does anyone have any questions for our lovely creators? What's the vibe? Feel free to put those hands up, by the way, and don't be shy. Yes, you right in front here.
Hi, my name's Nick. I actually worked on...
Yes, you did! Nice to meet you in person for the first time.
Yeah. I do have a question about more animated films from Zipped Up Films, if you guys have any questions.
Great
Can you repeat
question.
that just so everyone definitely hears it?
Yes. Do we have more animated films coming out? I want to say absolutely. I need a little break first because it's like I just gave birth like for a year to this worm. But I absolutely do. I want to go bigger, better, longer films, and who knows? I'm writing a feature, so let's get that on the books.
Who's next? Yes, you over there.
I have another question for Worm. Kara came to me with the script in some of its earlier days, and I was a fan from since then. I was curious though, because I saw stuff for the visual development and the style and everything. It wasn't quite something that I'd seen out there before, so I was kind of curious as to what your rules behind the style were, and what was the inspiration behind the color palettes you used, the types of brushes you used, and more kind of what you amalgamated into this.
Love it. It's just going into the art style and what was the inspo, and I definitely wanted it to feel like cute fairy tale children's book. It's very watercolor backgrounds. It's very Disney-esque. Of course, like Ghibli is a huge inspiration, and that final shot where the worm is like looking at the plane going by is like pulled straight out like The Wind Rises, you know? And same with even the rough kind of sketchy style of The Nightmare. I was like, let's go berserk, let's go crazy, and you know, an insane amount of anger into the frame. Yeah.
Who's next? Okay, oh my god, wait, okay, you look really excited. I'm with you.
Hey guys, amazing work. I love those pieces so much. I was going to ask, they're both so well written and all the right pieces at the right time, and I imagine that took a long time to kind of get it that perfect. So I wanted to ask in the writing process for both of you, were there any detours that we never would have thought you took because of the final product? Like any plot things that didn't make it, any kill your darlings that you'd like to share from early in the development process?
Questions about detours in the writing process, just in case. I don't know if you guys can hear. Can you hear the questions when they're being asked? Okay, then I'll stop. Okay.
Do you want to go first?
I can think of like so many jokes that we didn't use. It's also crazy watching it with a live audience because like you guys laugh at things that maybe like we didn't even think were jokes, and then you don't laugh at the ones that I. Johnny has told me 2 jokes that he loved that you guys didn't laugh at today, and that I also wrote. But I think with the writing process, the way we tried to do it, and I'm not going to answer your question because I don't have an answer, but a fun fact about the writing process is that it was written by me, Matthias Branger, and Elijah Gordon. And we had like weekly writing calls for probably like 4 months straight, and then we got the budget, and then we were like, oh, we need to rewrite some stuff because, you know, whatever, we cut it down from 5 episodes, 4 episodes, all that. But we had a rule, like a 2-to-1 rule, right? So it's if 2 people agree on something, on a joke, then it's in. Yeah, that was it.
I love democracy.
Yeah, we tried to keep with that, and you know, there's always roadblocks with, you know, thinking. And if you really are fighting for a joke, then you can like plead your case. But it definitely was. I think writing with 3 people was kind of 2 people break the story, and then another person goes and like writes the story. And we kind of had like a mini writer sort of situation going on. And then maybe one person is like, oh, I think it could go in this direction, so you do a rewrite, things like that. So that was kind of the overall structure. But yeah, the 2-to-1 rule was very, very helpful.
And for me, the biggest darling I killed was the man.
Wait, how are we doing on time? Question mark for audience questions?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
5 more minutes?
Yeah, 5.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Who wants to ask a question next? I saw you first back there in the black shirt.
Hey, what's up? My name is Asher. I just want to say, yo, this is real inspiring. Coming from acting myself and seeing you too, and then just seeing all the people who came up and showed and supported who are working on that. This is just real heart touching, real inspiring, showing you what you can do. You got a dream with passion. Y'all went for it, so my head's off. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now I'll throw it to you. Did you? Okay, yeah, you in the front. Yeah.
I'm Sebastian. I'm Nick Felicia's fiance.
Congrats.
So, mine is more like a question of what would you give as advice or a tip? Because I'm trying to do my own thing as well. And there's some things where it's like I'm not confident in doing it, or maybe I'm not going to get a lot of support. I get some friends that give me, oh, it sounds good, but have you ever been to that situation where you just want to return to that project, and what motivated you to continue?
Amazing question.
Yeah, I mean, just take care of your people first. Like, don't make it about the work when it's like an argument. Just make sure your people are okay, because I think with the creative process you run into, you know, people really feeling passionate about ideas and things like that, but at the end of the day, like, it's just about taking care of your crew and your cast and everybody, because without that, the project's not going to happen. Or worse, it's going to show up on screen that things are happening behind the screen. So,
I'd say this is just such a collaborative art form. You're only as strong as the people you're surrounding yourself with. I cannot do every single thing and animate and color and VFX, so I surround myself with amazingly talented, exceptional people who can, and people back people, they don't back projects. That's true of crowdfunding, that's true of any art you make. So yeah, be that kind of golden flag of like, come on guys, let's make this. It'll be fun, I promise. Yeah.
I think we have time for a few more. Who's next? Oh, yes, you in the corner. Hi.
I have a question for Film Bros. First off, the coloring and the sound was incredibly impressive for 4 episodes, and I wanted to ask.
Thank you.
Of course. I wanted to ask because it seemed very mockumentary style. What was the shooting timeline? I understand animation takes a good year, but having it looking so like fast-paced and everything before post-production, how long did it take you to shoot all 4 episodes?
It was 9 days total, 9 days straight. Shot 53 minutes of footage in 9 days. It was like it was long hours and insane.
It basically was like half a feature.
Yeah. But I think the mockumentary style really does help with timeline in a lot of ways because you don't need the lighting to be perfect all the time, and you want it to feel like it's kind of like an onlooker rather than you're really immersed in the world. But Elijah and the colorist Mason are so talented that there were times watching where I was like, oh, this is not a mockumentary anymore, this is like a drama, or this is like very elevated in some way. So I think the color note is, I can't take credit for that at all, but it is really, it's interesting to think about that there were some sort of elevated elements. But yeah, 9 days.
And I want to say, like, it looks chaotic on screen, but we had a really chill shoot. Like, we were like a day ahead of schedule and like could cancel a day.
Yeah, totally. It went from I feel from my end, it was like very stressful the first few days, just because I feel like we were all like getting the hang of how we work together, you know? But then afterwards, we did one day that we thought was going to be split into 2 days. We just made it one day, and we were ahead of schedule.
Oh, Jens, you back there.
Hey, Darian.
Oh, what's up?
Guys, Darian was the cowboy in the audition scene.
Yeah, such an honor. Can't wait for my Oscar. Who or what inspired you to become filmmakers? Like the very beginning of your life?
Wait, now we're getting deep.
Oh my god. I mean, the first thing I thought about was like SNL and that whole world. That's like been my inspiration for so long. I think like that show and the people who have come out of that show are like my biggest inspiration always.
I like watched so many Studio Ghibli movies as a kid, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I just knew instantly. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be me.
Like 1 or 2 more questions?
Yeah, a couple more.
Okay.
This is your last call.
Last call.
And then we'll go to the bar, I promise. And if nobody does, we'll just go to the bar early.
What's the last question? What's the last one? Ask a silly one. Do a funny one. Yes, you're a brave man over there. Thank you.
I'll ask one more. It's just because on the note of sound, I'm a bit of I like sound. I like music a lot. You both have very distinct music pieces. So I was curious as to kind of like what was the inspiration for where you kind of like source your musical style and stuff from.
Yes. My composer's in the audience. That's Ashna Pavan. It's so fun getting to shout out people who worked on it. I've worked with her before. She's amazing on my last short. And it was really challenging to find the sound because we started with, you called it Mickey Mousing?
Yeah.
Where like every little noise and every little movement you'd like accentuate it and go "Whoa," and like, you know, different things like that. And I was like, this is not that kind of cartoon. We gotta get it like, this is serious. This is a serious drama. We were inspired by a lot of like House Moving Castle romantic piano motifs.
I have no answer for the set. I mean, I didn't do the set. I didn't direct it. I wish I really could give a profound answer about the inspiration. Do you know what we're inspired by?
I saw didn't have the music, and now that I saw it just now with the music,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, this is intense.
Yeah, totally. It adds a lot to it.
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
you know, I don't love sound like telling you how to feel, like really like out there. But I don't think it did that. I think it just like enhanced it in a very tasteful way. So that's my thought.
Ooh, oh my god, okay, now everyone wants to Okay, well, I'll go to you in the back because we haven't asked one yet. In the blue, yeah.
Hi, your favorite parts of both your projects, favorite moment in the end?
I have a lot.
As a person who loves TV, I love episode 2 because it's kind of a split off story and there's 2 people in one storyline, 2 people in the other, and there's a clear goal with each story. I'm partial to Quinn with Felix because we had a lot of fun filming that. That was actually filmed in my grandma's house because, you know, cheap location, right? And we had to, it was just a lot of like, lovey-dovey chemistry stuff, which was, yeah, it was very bromance, which was very fun. So, yeah, and Bo's in the audience too. Shout out Bo. Who played Felix.
And my favorite are all the frat bro worms on that log, smoking and lifting weights, and I'm like, these are the best. I want a spin-off series about them.
Yes.
So true.
All right.
Yeah,
One final.
One last
Okay, one last question.
Yeah.
You got it. Yes. Yes.
All right, so what was your first step in doing both projects, and how did you feel completing?
That's a great final question.
The first step was just like improvising around our New York apartment when we were, you know, 21 years old and just like having fun. Shine was like the first character for some reason that we thought of right away. We were like, it's this guy who just always kind of gets like, he's the afterthought, he's the cinematographer, he's not the director, right? So he doesn't get a lot of creative say. But he's just like always like trying to be more, you know, like Shine after this I think is probably going to be a director or something. That's how I envision him. And then I feel like it's, I don't know, like you're doing festivals, we're still pushing like social media promotion, and I feel like it's not really done. I would love to keep it going. Yeah.
The worm work never ends.
Exactly.
The first real step of animation is getting some concept art and some character designs and actually iterating on that. And once you finally see that in real life, you're like, oh, now it's coming together. And the final step was doing that very last VFX shot, which was the crazy nightmare through her eye, complexity, you know, figuring that out. We had to try a lot of different things. And then it's a very unceremonious thing to wrap an animated short because you don't go like, that's a wrap, everyone. You're just like alone in your room and you go, yay. But yeah.
Oh my god. Well, on that, I think that's been our Q&A. Thank you so much, everyone.